Welcome to my class, student. It's class 8 English. It so happened this is chapter 4 session 3 and the name of the story is The Treasure Within. In this story, as you know, this is the story of Mr. Hafiz contractor, and the Mr. Contractor, Miss Bela is taking interview of Mr. Contractor, and what she is asking about his school days, how he was as a student, and very surprisingly she came to know that Mr. Contractor did never like his school days. He was always a prankster. He was always loved to play games. He was doing everything except study. He was never good at study. Maths used to give him nightmares. And then one day his principal called him and he said, see, as in absence of his father, mother was working hard and she was paying fee. So in class 11, he will have to take his study little seriously. That day, Mr. Contractor started taking his study little seriously. He studied a lot and he scored 50% in his SSC. And that 50% was like a distinction for him because he never liked study. When he went to college, that is college Jai Hind, he had to take French as a subject or German. But he said in school he studied 7 years French, but he did not know even the 7 words of French. So he took German, and after the death of the German teacher, so what happened? He had to go through French only, because nowhere in other schools, in other colleges, he would get admission, and in that college only he got the admission by influence only. So he dared not to leave the college, and he started taking classes from his cousin who was an architect's wife. So he used to go to the architect's office to learn French. There one day he found a mistake in an architect's design. That was the design of a window. He found the mistake, and that architect bet him to draw the window, and he drew it so nicely that everyone was surprised. The owner of the office, he told him to design some more things, and he did that very, very efficiently, very nicely. So everyone said him or suggested him to join an architecture college, and there the principal also said, if you will go through well in the entrance exam, then only he would be allowed. And the things happened in favor of Mr. Contractor, because he was destined to become an architect. He scored A+, always first class, first, and he remembered during his school days he had to compete with his friend. That was a game actually, and they used to draw designs of forts, guns and ammunition, and every time it were different designs. So Mr. Contractor said that practice helped him to think differently, and then he said he didn't know about the sector, but he knew if there is a plan how it would like when it will be completed. He know how the building would be from the top. If he had that sense, he had that inner understanding, that depth of knowledge he had of architecture. So he is sure. So the entire journey was like a cakewalk. Now let's see what Bela has asked here. Bela asked in the last class, as you know, why did he not like study? Was it because of curriculum? Let's see what he answered. Hafiz Contractor: I was very bad at languages. Science and geography I could deal with. Maths was very bad. He has said earlier, I had nightmares. I just was not interested. I was studying for the sake of study. Only for the sake of studying he was interested. He was not enjoying. And if you don't enjoy your work, it becomes a load. It becomes a burden. The same thing happened to Mr. Contractor. What they taught me today, I would forget after 2 days. Whatever is taught today, after 2 days, it was all swept away from his mind. I was not bothered because there was no application of mind there to begin with. And he didn't like that, he didn't bother that because application of mind was not there. It was just going through the study, appear for the exam and then promote to the next class. It was the system and he didn't bother about securing more marks and all that. Bela, did you think that what they taught in school was boring, or did you feel that once you understood the concept of what was being taught, you lost interest in the rest of the lesson? See, there are two things happen. First, if you find that everything was boring, then you don't find any interest. And the moment when you understood the chapter, understood the meaning of the chapter, then again you become uninterested in going through the entire chapter. So Bela is asking if any of these two things happened to him. Face contractor. Living in a boarding school is difficult. We were just living from day to day. Nowadays, there are so many tests. Back then, whenever we had tests, we used to just copy. The teacher thought that we had done our work. Now what he is saying, yesteryears when he was a student, he loved to copy everything. What the other student is writing, he used to write that only. So, this was the thing going on and the teacher thought that he had done his work by himself. Bihar. There is a contention that giftedness and learning disabilities go hand in hand. Do you think this applies to you? See, there is something that giftedness and learning disability go hand in hand. So, is it applicable to you? Was it applicable to you? Then what is the answer? Well, take some students from my class. Those who always stood first or second are today doing very ordinary jobs. It happens. Those who are scholar, those who were topper in the school days, now they are doing very ordinary jobs. You know what happened? It's not for every student. It's not for every student. It's not bad to be a topper or to be a highest scorer in the school. There is nothing wrong in this. But the thing is that those who are bookworms, those who only study and don't think anything about the creativity. They don't want to know anything except study. Then what happens? That monotony of work makes them dull. They don't find any interest in games. They don't find any interest in other extracurricular activities. And what happens? Only study makes him dull. They score high in the classroom. That is, they mug up the things and everything they present during the exam. And so they score high. And this is the only reason they are in habit of obeying others. When they are in habit of obeying others, they are doing very ordinary jobs. But those who are very good in sports also, in other curricular activities also, in study also, they are all-rounders. They are really successful in their life. Bihar. I have come across this situation in so many different places where people tell me that their class toppers are doing very ordinary today. Yes, class toppers. Class toppers are doing very ordinary things because they have never applied their brain in any other creative field. What they have done for years, they went through the study, they continued, they were doing the same type of work and they scored high. But when the real time came, when the real situation came, when the time came, when they had to use their mind, their own creativity, their own innovation, then they were nothing. They were doing nothing. They were good for nothing because they didn't learn it. So this is the reason why class toppers are doing very ordinary jobs. Hafiz contractor. In school, I think living our lives, they are made us straight smart. I have learnt more by doing what I did on my own than what academics would have taught me. See, this is the thing why he is so successful, because he has learned from his own way, from trial and error, from his own life. Whatever he had done by his own, he took the responsibility of that. He learned from that, and that learning made him so experienced. So that learning had given him so valuable lessons of life that academics could never give him. So history, geography, science, until and unless you know how to apply this knowledge in the real world, in the world when you have to earn something, these subjects are nothing but just knowing the facts. So they were street smart. Lives they made us street smart. Now, giftedness, having special abilities, street smart, smart by doing things independently, by choice rather than force. So, street smart means whatever he used to do by his own. Nobody could force him to study. He never studied. He always played games. He was like a leader of the gang, so he knew how to handle team building, everything he has learned from his own life. So he was street smart. So we are seeing that is because the personalities and skills were there. You were able to find expression in a manner you were comfortable with, and you defied every rule so that nobody would stop you from doing what you needed to do. Now Mr. Contractor is saying, I was more interested in other things. If, for example, while in class, it started raining outside, I would think of the flowing water and how to build a dam to block it. See, the imagination of the child as a student, what was his thinking? When there was flowing water, he was thinking of how to build a dam to stop water. So that thinking process, that means he is destined to become an architect. Defied means broke. I would be thinking about the flow of water within the dam and how much of water the dam would be able to hold. Now what was his thinking? He was thinking to build a dam. He was thinking about the flow of water within the dam and how much water the dam could be able to hold. That was my interest for the day. I did never pay attention to lessons that was going on in the class. When students lost a button while playing or fighting, they would come running to me and I would cut a button for them from chalk using a blade. Discipline in the school was very important and no student could afford to have a button missing. The student would get past dinner with a full neat uniform, and after that it did not matter. The thing is that discipline was there. If anyone had lost a button, so they would have to face the teacher. They would be scolded, they would be beaten, they would be punished. So Mr. Contractor was there to create a button for them with a chalk and with the help of a blade. Now, coming to the present, how do you decide as to what kind of structure you want to give a client? This is very important. Try to understand another interesting fact about Mr. Contractor. See how he used to understand what the client wants. I look at the client's face, his clothes, the way he talks and pronounces, the way he eats, and I would know what his taste would be like. See, how important to build good manners, good habits, good interest, because everything gives a signal to a person what your tastes are. Mr. Contractor, just seeing client's face, his clothes, the way he talks and pronounces, the way he eats, he came to know about his taste. And the client did not have to explain what he wanted. Mr. Contractor is ready with the solution, with the design that the client was just imagining and thinking of explaining to Mr. Contractor. He is ready with the design. I can relate to people in a way that would be comfortable. Second thing, he makes his client very comfortable. I sketch very spontaneously on a paper on the spot. Very spontaneously he could sketch on the paper on the spot. That paper I give to my people in the office. That was his style of knowing the interest of the client. So it's very important. If you see everything, there is a two type of communication. The non-verbal communication, your face, your clothes, your personality, everything explains what you want, what type of person you are. And Mr. Contractor is an expert in this type of understanding what the other person wants from him. He comes to know very easily without even explained. So this is the secret behind his success. Bihar, you do it instinctively. SC, call it instinct, call it arithmetic, whatever. Now it comes to me like mathematics. See what he is saying? You can call it instinct, you can call it arithmetic. Now, but it's like mathematics for me. Putting design, construction, psychology and sociology together and making a sketch from all that is mathematics. Now, he hated the subject, and now the subject he hated most, he is praising, he is saying, yeah, now I am expert in doing mathematics, but his definition of mathematics is different. It is related to his profession. What he is saying, putting design, then construction, and he applied psychological fact and sociology, everything together and make a sketch, and that is mathematics for him. Here we almost come to a full circle when Mr. Contractor has derived his own interpretation of mathematics. Taking it from a subject he hated to a subject he now loves dealing with. The subject mathematics he hated so badly, now he is lovingly dealing with it, but with a different definition. Same mathematics. Instinctively, naturally, not coming from training or based on reasoning. So, what have we learned? We have learned about Mr. Hafiz's life, his ability to understand the client, his ability how to know before explaining from the client his needs, his interests, his taste. So all these things he has learned by his own. When he was doing the things without any force, spontaneously, of his own, he was very responsible for the outcome. And that learning made him so mature in understanding others that academics would never give that understanding. So here we have learned Mr. Hafiz Contractor's wonderful student life, his success mantra, the ability he has, everything we have come to know about this, and we are really very much impressed by his life. So in the next class, I will go through something more interesting about this chapter. Till then, go through that chapter. Thank you.